The final session is looking to the future, and this is the inaugural conference of the ITTP, and we do want to have things to do as a result of this conference. So I will be just telling you a few sort of housekeeping things, and then I'll hand over to Graham, the head of the ITTP, and then we'll open it to the floor and we'll see what points we can distill. Quite a number have come up already, and we'll see what points we can distill. Now, the points I've been asked to make are, can you contribute to Dreamflight on your way out if you haven't already? Buckets are available. Can you fill in your appraisal forms, which I know some of you are doing, the feedback forms, and hand them in.
To a student with a T-shirt on.
Hand them in to a student with a T-shirt on, with an ITTP.
Sorry, not in your T-shirt.
T-shirt, yes.
Hello, rock and roll.
Meatloaf won't do, no. And because we value your feedback very much. And the final thing is, I want to point out that many of you will be going to the Sony networking at the Sony Suite at Pinewood, and all the people who've registered for the Sony tour and cocktail reception, please meet by the TV Bay table, which is just next door. And there are, if you haven't booked and you've decided you might like to come, there are 20 places available, 20 extra places. So if you do want to come, they're available on a first come, first served basis. So that's the main things to say before we get going on action for the future. So, Graham, how have you felt about today?
Well, I think I've been rather sort of overawed by the whole day, really. But I feel that whole day has been really very positive. I think we've had some very good discussions, interchange of views and ideas. A lot of you have networked, which is brilliant, what we wanted. You've heard from the panellists about various aspects of the whole aspect of training television. So what we really want now is you guys and girls sitting in front to be very much part of this. I mean, I know we're up here because we just like the instigators, but what we really want from you is now suggestions about what we've heard and what you would like the ITTP to do, if anything, of course, post this event. So when we all meet up again next year, all being well, we can then sort of have a review of what we learnt today and see what we can do to carry on carrying forward this interchange of views and ideas and discussion between all the people in the broadcasting industries, junior people and indeed senior people. So this is very much just throw things at us, really, metaphorically speaking, about what you are going to take away from today, and what you have heard, what you've learned, and particularly what you feel the day has been about. So, but really positive ideas. We don't want to have yet more talking shops or yet more discussions or meetings and things. Really, we'll have more positive suggestions. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm Bernie Newton. We haven't seen me before because I was living out there looking after getting the guests in. I'm a television producer by trade. I was a cameraman before that. I was watching on the telly all day, and you get a slightly dispassionate view from the telly that you don't get from in the hall. And what I saw was really good. I mean, we set out with this to have strong exchanges of views, and what we heard was skill set saying we're doing it all right, and cameramen, particularly Dick Hibbard, saying you're doing it all wrong. And I think that's a very valid thing. If people can say that, then there's things to be said between the two. The universities sitting sort of in the middle of all that. I work for a university. I do work for Kingston University as a plug-in trainer. I'm not actually on the staff. So I'm on ITP because I see it from both sides. I can see the constraints and the difficulties of trying to run a university department and all that £9,000 a year stuff, combined with the way students learn as well as at university with the modular system and stuff. And I see Graham on the other side saying 3 years at university and they can't even plug in a monitor yet, which is not an uncommon thing for people to say. So there is, over here we've got one lot of people, and over here we've got another lot of people, which is the universities and the actual people on the ground. Somewhere over here we've got skill set, who isn't, sorry if there's any skill set people left, quite with any of us mostly. apart from those who got accredited. And there needs to be a conjoining. And that was the whole point of sort of sitting down whenever we did a year ago with ITTP saying, we need to get our act together and put it together. We were talking earlier about maybe in the end the answer is a set of common goals. It's the core skills that you need from whatever it is. Now I know that centuries ago Skillset did that. I don't know where it all went. 30, 40 years ago I remember them coming around and asking that. But a set of core skills is what needs to be defined, and how that's done needs to be done between the people on the ground and the universities, and here we have ITTP who could actually do that if you will let them. Now, I was talking to Nick Bamford from Bournemouth, and also there's Susan Scotcher and Ian Stubbs, I think has gone now, from the National Film Television School. And they all say the same thing. So, we need a set of core skills, lay down the core skills, we can all work to the same thing, then all the crews will not be saying, these people are rubbish. And that's what we're looking for, I think, aren't we?
Okay, so
Sorry.
right. So we'll throw it open to the floor. So any questions?
Well, suggestions, really.
Suggestions, yes.
Yeah, I mean, do feel free to come up here. This is not like only a VIP up here. I mean, if you feel brave enough to come and join Bernie and I.
Yeah, there's plenty of space.
Yeah, plenty of space. So if you want to get really involved, please come up here and join the conversation. It's not like, it's us and you sort of thing.
I mean, what we're looking for are the concrete suggestions. Some things that have come up are communication between Skillset and the industry needs to be improved. Would you like the ITTP to talk to Skillset about that?
At the back, there's a hand up. Sorry, I'm going to do your job if I can.
Yes, okay.
I'd like to come up here.
Have we not found Skillset being fairly...
I'd like to come up here and with a microphone. And sorry, and somebody else was talking about Skillset thing? Like come up and join us as well?
We've had a really good old go at Skillset, he said,
Yeah.
which is fair enough. Perhaps there was good reason. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done, really, I suppose.
You're obviously a troublemaker, but you obviously had lots of questions.
He's a troublemaker.
Yeah. So carry on. Yeah, go on. Your point, your suggestions.
Well, one of the things, yes, I may have caused a bit of trouble today because I had a few points to make. And having this being the first one of these conferences, and I've been partially helping to make this happen with the rigging and planning of it, one of the things I've noticed at times has been a bit of sort of mud throwing between all the different divisions, whether it be the academics, whether it be Skillset, whether it be the people in the industry. But one thing I hope that's been achieved with all of this is that people have started to change their minds a bit. I know some people in the industry have come and said to me, well, actually, maybe the universities aren't quite so bad as we thought they were. And maybe some of the university people have turned around and gone, well, maybe those in the industry aren't quite the evil monsters that we thought they were either. So what I hope is achieved from this, and if this carries on, and I'm proud to be part of this, is that a conversation now happens. We stop throwing accusations, stop having wild rumours, and start talking, because I'm a student, and this to me is about me, every other student in this room, and every other student in a university or trying to get into the industry. That's what we're all here for, and it's us students who want to be in the industry and make it better than it ever was before. So if this is the last time I'm ever here, please take this from me. I hope you all work together to make the industry, universities, those outside organisations trying to help, and the student life that bit better to make us a better future.
Do you have a few... Well done. Yeah. So, do you have an actual suggestion? A positive thing that we can do together to do what you just said?
What I think we need to do is this conference here, maybe make it at least happen next year, and then maybe make it happen twice a year. So then any problems, anything that actually happens, can be spoken to between the people that can make a difference, rather than just speaking to your peers who are just going to make it worse and nothing's going to happen. From what I've seen here, there are people's minds changing, people starting to open doors that were closed before, and this needs to happen more. So, that's what I say, it's communication. There's not been communication, and this is helping that happen.
Brilliant, okay. Anybody like to... Sorry, I'm doing your job for you, Ross. There, you carry on.
Can I make a concrete suggestion? My name's Dominic Lees. I've directed a great deal of television drama, and now I run a degree in media production at Farnborough. I came here because I hope to network and find industries, businesses, and freelancers who might come and guest lecture, be part of the course that I run. Maybe ITTP could play a very, very concrete role. Yes, it could define what the needs are, and then it could create a pool of freelance professionals, each of whom is briefed what are the specific educational requirements, and we as course leaders would then be able to draw on that pool, knowing that that pool of freelancers, hopefully who you've vetted as quite good communicators and teachers, will bring to our students very concrete, specific skills. ITTP would then be the absolute centre. We would all use the ITTP as a resource. I think that's more important even than this kind of talking conference session.
Yes. Well, that sounds very good. Yeah, I mean, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to just jump on the opportunity, but as a cameraman who came here for the specific purpose of making those connections, can I second what our friend has just said? And I could see a real role for the ITTP in being the accreditation centre for people like me, working professionals, who want to go into universities, want to impart some of their skills. I mean, the other organisation, I'm not even going to say their name because we've heard it far too often. I mean, they haven't got anything to offer that situation, but ITTP could, and I completely endorse what our friend here has said from the other side of the situation.
Sorry, can I ask a question? So as a camera person, what would you like the ITTP to actually do for you? Is that me? Yes, last person who spoke.
Okay, all right.
You can't see because of the light.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a working lighting cameraman. They're my credentials, really, my credit list. My only qualification is to teach anything. I'm a sports coach, so I've been through that as a process. Yeah. So I feel it would be useful for the ITTP to do, as this gentleman says, to endorse my ability to teach the skills that I believe I can teach. So I think that's the role that you can play. So that it's not just me saying, look, I think I can teach these skills. Someone else may have looked at the way I go about it, may have got feedback from some students I've already taught, and confirm that, yeah, it's worth your while speaking to this man on these subjects. He can offer some good input, rather than it just be me saying that I think I can do it.
So would you then expect the ITTP to say that you are a good bloke, sort of thing?
No, I would expect you to say, on the basis of feedback from people and our investigation of his credentials, we think you could enter into a discussion about this person being a trainer with some confidence. I don't expect you to go to the lengthy process that the other organisation would go through, but to fast-track something which would give educational organisations an idea that, look, this is one of the sort of people you should be speaking to.
Right. So before you go, could you make sure that Nick at the back there has your contact details?
Yeah.
Nick, are you there, Nick? Sure. Yeah. Nick, who looks very smart, make sure he has your contact details.
Can I just make one more comment on what you've just said? That's fantastic. I'd love to work with people like you in the industry to learn more. There's just one more thing I say with this conference. If it happens again, there is one thing missing. And the reason I've been speaking up is students. We've been sat here for hours talking about the industry, talking about universities, and the one person missing is the one person that matters, is the students whose lives you're possibly affecting and possibly improving with this. So.
Good feedback, yeah.
And does somebody want the microphone back?
Gentleman there with the white hair. Oh, sorry, there's two of you. Sorry.
All these old blokes.
Yes.
Would I come up and join us on the stage?
Sorry?
Do you feel like coming and sitting down? There is actually a spare seat here for you. Have you finished?
Yes. Thank you very much.
We can change.
Good afternoon. Is it on?
Yeah, I don't know. Sound
Keith Massey. I'm chairman of the GTC. I'm just about to finish after 50 years, I think, this year since I had a first piece on TV, a bit of film. I was a DOP and lighting cameraman. I'd just like to say that it's so important, I think, that we do get some students here.
Absolutely,
Graham, that those that probably are at university now, and perhaps some that have, finished, and may have got a job in the industry, who can then come and talk to us about their feelings as to where they've been, where they are now, and where they think they may be going, so that we can understand their aspirations. I really feel desperate for the young people in this country today in not being given opportunities, which I think we had when we were younger. I think it's so important for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we did actually, did we not, guys from the ITTP, discuss having students, didn't we?
We did, and we thought probably that we would have a hall full without too many students, and indeed we have. So I think, yes, I entirely agree that students should be here. He's absolutely right, but you're going to need a bigger hall. And the first people we needed to talk to were the lecturers and the course readers and everything. That's not to say we shouldn't have students, but you know, the place is not as full as it was, but it's pretty full still.
Yeah.
So yes, but you know, you've got to have the space.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll take that suggestion on board. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much indeed.
And thank you and the ITTP for organising this great event and the amount of work that you've all put in to make this happen as a voluntary organisation in your own time. I think is absolutely brilliant, and thanks to Ros for chairing it so well. Thank you.
Yes, another question, yeah, or point. Like to come and join us up here? I mean, we're very happy to. We don't want to.
That's you, Mr. Barlow.
Oh, it is the lady, Mr. Barlow.
I'm sorry if I'm sort of hogging this, but I get rather
come sit down.
Come sit down, passionate.
John, come sit down. We can stand
about some of the things that are being said.
Yeah, come and sit down.
I used to be indecisive,
No, you don't.
but now...
Not sure.
Look, like you, I've spent the day listening to very interesting debates that have been coming from this platform. And I'm sorry, I don't know the name of our student friend, but our student friend has reminded us that there was a predominance of the, how should we put it, the industry professionals knocking the universities defending themselves and the colleges defending themselves as to the product that they're actually putting out. And as Bernie said, over there somewhere we had Skillset defending itself because of criticism that was coming from both areas. Now, it seems to me that what the ITTP could be doing in future is certainly this concept of having people with credibility being made available to go to wherever and have input. But when it comes to validation, the day has been spent comparing apples with oranges, because the colleges and universities are talking about the accreditation of their courses in order to be able to offer them. The industry professionals have been talking about the almost personal accreditation of the individuals. Now, it seems to me that if you're a student, you need to know that the course that you're about to spend an awful lot of money on, and by the way, it's not just the 3 times 9,000, it's the accommodation, etc. You know, it's a lot more than that. So if you're going to make this fantastic investment, then the course that you go on has got to be valid for what you want. It's got to produce an end result that you're looking for. But when it comes to working in the industry, the validation is actually from your peers. I can't remember who it was up here, but people up here said basically it can be who you know. That's how you get working. You need to be recognised by the industry itself. Now, there are many organisations, BKSTS, I know you're there somewhere, excellent at actually having peers accredit people. Take the British Society of Cinematographers. They decide internally who's going to have the coveted letters, using all capitals, BSc after their names, because they know the standards that need to be achieved. They look at each other and they set those standards. So that's how they get work, because when they go for the next job, it's what did you do, who have you worked with, and yeah, you know, I personally I'm not, but you know, I'm a BSc that gives credibility. So I think that I know I'm going on a bit, but
no,
ITTP, I think should have a role in trying to bridge the credibility gap. I don't think ITTP has got any idea of trying to take over from Skillset. I certainly don't. I don't think it thinks that way, and it shouldn't, because that is a well-established organisation, and that would be almost impossible to do. So what ITTP could do is be a vehicle that is working across these different areas to bring things together and ensure that the people that are actually coming out of the education system into film and television production are getting the kind of status that their work deserves. And if they're not too good at it, they won't actually get that status. It's enabling production companies to look at people and say, yeah, I like what's on offer here. So it's try and progress accreditation.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Hold
that.
Hold that.
Actually, based on that from John, when we were first talking about this, my daughter, who works in something called business continuity, which is a new skill based on, it's getting jolly complicated. We have to actually have real people sorting this out. And they found that what they were getting into the industry was a whole load of cowboys. And you couldn't tell who was worth talking to and who wasn't, in the same as this case. And so what they did was band together and set up a set of core skills and set up the British Society of whatever they're called, British continuity people, business continuity. And so if you wanted to join the society, you had to satisfy all of them that you had the core skills. And then you paid your 50 quid a year or whatever it was, and you became a member of the British Society of blah, 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 blah. That meant when you went to an employer, it meant that at least you had some credibility because you'd gone, so you could be a member of ITTP and you paid your yearly subscription, but you could only be in there if you personally had satisfied them that within whatever you are, university lecturer or cameraman or soundman or whatever it is, had that skill that they needed. And I think that's something worth thinking through. Whatever you like, really, but I think that's something worth thinking about.
Okay, one other point that was made this morning, if you can think that far back, was about more apprenticeships. Now, as in television craft apprenticeships, the government has said that they're doing their bit with their apprenticeship schemes. They've created a framework, much more of a framework than we had before. The BBC and Sky say they're doing quite a lot. So is that something that you would also like ITTP to put on their list, to look more at the spreading of apprenticeships and making it easier for smaller companies to take on apprentices?
There's a hand up in the light there.
Yep.
Peter Harris, BBC Training Retired. The usual question, who trains the trainers? We've got lots of industry professionals, I'm sure, who would like to impart their skills. It can be a bit of a daunting experience, standing in front of 25, 30 vacuum cleaners who want every bit of knowledge that you've got and are prepared. Well, that's what they are. They're unwritten pages. They're going to suck the information out of you and make you work hard to give it to them because they're keen. And there can be a set of presentational techniques which can be a help to avoid some pitfalls and to help you plan and execute your training session more effectively. And I wonder whether an organisation with the T for training in their name should perhaps offer a 2-day, maybe a weekend presentation skills course so that those people who would like to come and join the profession as trainers would feel they were armed to do that with more than just their specialist knowledge.
So can I ask you a question? This train the trainers, as you just mentioned, how are those courses funded?
That's not my problem.
Well,
I did mine 35 years ago.
It might be our problem. Yep.
Well, I wondered.
And I think that what perhaps ITTP could do is look at what's actually currently available. And we're not talking about entry level here. I mean, I think the colleges are there, the universities are there. They are professional trainers. I couldn't do it, So let's move on from this entry level and let's look at more advanced skills. Now, in time gone by, the Royal Television Society used to have a sort of technical section that used to organise training. And it was pitched at a level that freelancers could afford. And don't forget, when a freelancer goes on a course, the freelancer pays the price of the course plus not working that particular day. So it really, you know, the level, the price that you charge really has got to be realistic for freelancers. You bring in industry recognised professionals on whatever it is, to be with those aspiring postgraduate operators to work together. An organisation like the RTS used to do it, but they don't do it anymore.
Could I make the point that when I transferred from broadcasting into training, I come from a family of teachers, and my cousin, the university lecturer, said, "See, we got you in the end," because I was never going to be a teacher. I mean, I'm not a teacher, I'm a trainer, but even so, I ended up training. But I did a course with the ITVA, which doesn't exist anymore, the Independent Television and Visual Association, and that was a train the trainer course on how to present to audiences and so on. So actually there might be a gap for that, as well as having lists of approved trainers.
The BBC used to do courses on training the trainers. But who trains the trainers? Who trains the trainers?
Good question.
Right. Okay. Can I have there? Yes?
It's behind you.
Just there. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes. It's just you've already had a couple of goes, so I thought I'd get someone who's...
My name's Fraser Mansell. I'm from Edinburgh College. I'm a college lecturer. I teach digital film and television production. And it's been a really good day.
Would you like to come and join us up here? Are you feel confident enough?
No, I'm quite happy here. Amongst my kith and kin. I've actually had quite an interesting year, which is somehow relevant. I hope I don't go off too tangentially, but I'd like to pick up on a couple of points. It was a bit of mudslinging right at the outset between the universities and the colleges, which we should not forget, although that term universities is kind of used synonymously, it seems, and the industry, who are not getting what you want. And I think what's happened for me over the last year is that we've had the Host Broadcaster Training Initiative for the Commonwealth Games 2014. You may or may not be aware of this. The idea is that the broadcaster, Sunset and Vine, has taken on the responsibility to provide training for a limited number of students who are participating in the Commonwealth Games, and is taking them through an accredited process of training, including 5-year safety training, health and safety training. It's been a little bit bumpy. The responsibilities of who does what is sometimes not always being clearly defined. However, there have been some significant developments. One of those was the fact that Telegenics phoned up and said, "Listen, we're coming up to do an outdoor broadcast in Glasgow, and we were wondering if your students would be interested in seeing an outdoor broadcast van." And they actually brought it to us, parked it outside for the day, and ran a series of training courses for all of our students. And it was hands-on training. So they were actually able to focus with a £90,000 lens and actually use the kit. And they were using an EVS system. Okay, now my college, unfortunately, does not have the budget to consistently, on a tri-annual basis or even annual basis, to upgrade our software or our hardware or our equipment, which is in line with industry standards. And I think that what I would like to have at the next conference that we do is actually, and forgive me for saying this, but rather than a sales pitch from Avid, if you spend £800 million, then this is what we will do. I would actually like to see these industries, the people who are constructing the hardware and software for our industry, making a much greater contribution to the education of our young people, and to take on board their responsibility as well. So rather than maybe saying, okay, you have to upgrade every year to, let's say, CS7, CS8, CS9, that in fact, okay, we will take those deprecated versions and we will give those to colleges, to institutions, and they do not have to then have that output on a constant basis where perhaps your budget might be 10 grand. So there's 2 points I'd like to make. The first is that through goodwill, if people in the television industry actually do, as John suggested, and put their names forward and are able to come and give masterclasses, that would be a huge bonus. But above and beyond that, if you are doing a gig in Edinburgh, phone me. Ask me if I've got any students that I can send to you, because the answer is yes, and some of them are very, very good. But there needs to be a bit more dialogue, and I think that the ITTP could be that link.
So that's great. So do you suggest then, or are you asking, there should be some sort of website or something where people like Telegenic, CTV Arena could say, oh, we're going to go to an OB in Belfast or Manchester, and they can and that will become their local college sort of thing.
Yeah,
is that what you're suggesting?
That's what I'm saying, and I'm also suggesting that we're now onto version XT3 of the EVS system. There's no reason, unless they're selling them to, third world countries, or just dismantling them or recycling them, that they could not allocate those deprecated versions, those out-of-date machines, to institutions which actually do not have the £250,000 to be able to outlay to get that equipment. And then, if we had everybody working together, so industry professionals who were able to come in to the colleges, to the universities, and demonstrate their skills and experience hands-on, if we had events that were taking place that the students were able to go to. Now, in Edinburgh, we do get a fair few. We get some feature films, but not everybody and not every production is asking for that. If you ask, we can provide. Runners, no problem. Higher up, yes, we can do that too. So I think that we just need to work in greater collaboration. But I do think that the manufacturers need to step up a little bit more.
So is our friend from the IABM still here? Steve? Yeah, Steve. Is he still around? Okay.
Maybe next time.
Okay. We'll have to talk to the Institute of Association of Broadcast Manufacturers, I think, is what you're suggesting, isn't it, I think?
I think I am.
Because you're absolutely right. I mean, I think that there is a desperate need for more financial help from the broadcast manufacturers. I think that's what you're suggesting, isn't it?
Yes, and I think that they have the financial muscle to be able to do it. I mean, we've talked about shrinking budgets already in terms of production. Well, the budgets have been shrinking in education for quite a long time now. To the point where, it is a major, major struggle to keep abreast of endlessly changing technology. Now, you can train your students to have a range of transferable skills, to be able to become storytellers and to work in maybe non-technical areas, or to be familiar with basic level technology, which could then be enhanced. But if you're wanting students who are going to be able to come straight in and be able to work, then there needs to be some sort of investment jointly.
Okay, thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you.
We've got time for gentlemen here at the front. We've got time. One short question.
Okay, hello, good afternoon. My name is Attila Mustafa. I work at Exeter College. I'm also a freelancer and a qualified teacher as well and trainer. I'd just like to say, firstly, maybe you ought to consider having a stand at IBC or Broadcast Video Expo North and London this year. And also, I actually designed the skeletal structural portal website, whatever, that would have bridged every single college and higher education institution in the country together in terms of media resources and students. It went to a funding body and they were going to award us £250,000 to build it. Unfortunately, my management kicked it into the long grass at the 11th hour. I don't know why, but today has inspired me to resurrect that and try and get that up and running again.
Good.
And thank you for a great day.
Well, thank you for coming.
Right, so to sum up, lots more connections needed and definitely a linking role for ITTP. So thank you all very much for attending today, and we hope you'll come again next year. And I'm just going to hand you over to Graham for the final words.
Well, not much final words to say really, but again to reiterate, thank you so much for all coming, especially from Exeter or from Edinburgh, which I know is not a short drive down the road. So thank you all for coming. I'm particularly to thank all the people who have made this event possible. Now our sponsors, Sony, Procam, Avid, and the ABM. And all I've mentioned some of the team here who've helped to put this together. Especially a special thanks to a guy called Nick Parry, who sat at the back here on the stage, who has sent thousands and thousands of emails to thousands and thousands of people.
Stand up, Nick.
Organising this event and really
deserves a clap.
Yeah. So particularly thank you for Nick, who has done an sterling job for doing this, and thank you again to Simon Tyler from TV Bay, who has been answering Nick's thousands emails and putting all sorts of stuff in envelopes and stuff and organising the team. So that's been brilliant. And Susan for organising all the students. Finally, don't forget, please fill up your feedback forms. We really want to hear more about what you like about today, what you didn't like about today, and how we can actually push today forward. Don't forget, I've been asked to say, don't forget the charity Dream Flight. There's money, people money in the pots before you go. And don't forget Sony have got drinks and nibbles and 4K cameras and 4K display devices for you to go and drool over across the road, over there by TV Bay. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you all for coming, and I hope to see you again in a year's time.